Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? I am super excited for this video because we're going to be focusing on skin today and specifically getting a really flawless base if you have dry skin. I love having a really glowy, soft, luminous, no extra cakiness, no extra texture type of base for my skin personally, and I feel like recently I've discovered a ton of products that just work perfectly in combination with each other, so I wanted to share that with you today. Of course, I do just want to add a little tip that no matter what you put on your face for makeup, skincare is so important, and if you have super dry skin and you're neglecting your skin, definitely consider adding some oils, some moisturizer. Make sure that you are taking care of your skin on a skincare level, because I swear whenever I started really focusing on my skincare, it made such a difference on how my foundation and concealers would apply to my skin. I know that tip's a little bit random for me. It's definitely Amy Loves Makeup and not Amy Loves Skincare, but it makes a huge difference. So if you want to see how I got this base, then let's just go ahead and jump right on in. Okay, so starting off with primer, I have two different recommendations, and the first is the Glossier Priming Moisturizer Rich. This is one of my favorite primers of all time. I'm actually getting very, very low on it. Like, I'm almost finished it. So this is a great primer if you're just looking for something that will add a ton of moisture to your skin. It's really, really thick and heavy. They do have a prime moisturizer without the rich on it, which I'm assuming is a little bit more lightweight, maybe better for normal to oily skin, but I absolutely love this and it gets me through the winter. And then if you're looking for a primer that has a little bit more of a glow to it, I've been obsessed with the Danessa Myricks Prism FX Hydrating Lotion, which again kind of has like a moisturizer lotion feel to it, but this one is a bit more glowy, so that's what I'm going to go in with today. Just going to use one pump and evenly spread it all over my skin. You can see it just instantly adds a really, really beautiful glow. Okay, so for foundation today, I'm going to use the Ulta Beauty Moisturizing Foundation Stick, and I have the shade Very Fair Cool. I thought I would mention this because it's a really beautiful foundation for dry skin, and I rarely hear anyone talk about this ever. It is one of the most creamy stick foundations that I have. I know a lot of people rave about this one from Bare Minerals, which is nice as well, but it's a lot more expensive. I feel like the Ulta one looks pretty much the exact same on the skin, but I actually like the shade of this more because the lightest shade in the Bare Minerals one is quite pinky. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just do a few streaks. It is very, very creamy, so it's just a joy to work with, honestly. I'm going to go into my BK Beauty 101 brush. I have been loving this recently. I feel like it's just so soft, but it blends foundation in really, really beautiful. So I'm just buffing that in. You can see it's super, super pretty. So there's what one layer looks like, and because stick foundation is so easy to add just a little bit more, sometimes I'll kind of assess my face and think like, okay, like maybe I want a little touch more here, maybe a little bit more here. Just basically cover up what I want to without using too much product. All right, now for concealer, I'm going to go into my Tarte Shape Tape in the shade Fair, and honestly, I feel like I have tried so many concealers and I just always keep going back to this one. I think it looks really beautiful. I know not everyone with dry skin loves this. I think the trick is not to go in with too much. What I just threw on is going to completely cover all of the area underneath my eyes, and then I'll just add a little bit on my forehead because I'm breaking out right there, maybe a touch on my nose, and any acne that I might have. But basically, I feel like there's so many concealers that are meant for more dry skin. There's so many glowy ones, and there's a lot that I like, but I just feel like this is the best long-lasting one, and it doesn't really get super dry on me. And also, I feel like for this video specifically and using the Ulta Stick Foundation, it is one of my lightest foundations. So some of the more glowy concealers that I have, for example, I have the e.l.f. concealer and the Kosas concealer, and those are both really beautiful, but they're a little bit deeper and a little bit more yellow on me, so I can't wear them with this foundation. I'm going to take my Anissa Beauty Angled Concealer Brush, and I absolutely love this brush. I feel like it really, really gets right in there underneath the eyes where you need the concealer to be, and it's just the perfect shape. It's super, super soft, and it's also really dense as well, so you get a lot of coverage from it. So I kind of like to pat and swipe and just do a little mixture of both as I'm blending it in. But I just feel like that looks so, so nice. And then because this is such a small brush, I do like to go back into my foundation brush and just lightly go over the edge of where the concealer stopped, just so there's no line or anything, or if you're just blending fast and you miss it, this just makes sure that it's blending into the foundation. It's not just two triangles of coverage. I really want to make sure it's blending in and seamless. All right, now I'm going to take my Give Me Glow Cosmetics setting powder, and this is the shade Powdered Sugar. I'm obsessed with this setting powder. I just feel like it looks so beautiful on the skin. I can't stop using it. I don't want to stop using it. It's just my favorite powder ever. I'm going to take my BK Beauty 108, and I'm just going to grab a little bit of powder and tap off the excess quite a lot, just so there's a thin layer on there, because I don't want to go in with a crazy amount of powder. I just use enough to set underneath my eyes. Because I do have dry skin, I go in with a tiny little amount, because the official name of this powder is like the baking and setting powder or something, and I will definitely not be baking with it. That's just not happening for my skin. I also will sometimes take a little bit more depending on how my skin is doing. If you have super dry skin, I definitely don't recommend this step, but sometimes when I've got a little extra texture or some acne or something, so I like to make areas like that matte. So for example, right now on my forehead here, I'll go in with a little bit of this powder just to blur that area and make it look a little bit more smooth. But again, I went in with a tiny amount. So I typically use powder bronzer every single day. I want to get more into cream bronzer and cream contour, but this is where I'm at right now. So I have a glowy option to share and a matte option. The glowy is the Kosas bronzer. I personally have the shade Light, and this is one of those bronzers that just looks super soft on the skin. It gives that lit from within glow. It's not shimmery by any means. There's no sparkle to it, but it just has more of a non-matte satiny texture to it. It just looks really pretty. If you do have dry skin and you like using a powder bronzer, this is a great way to bronze your skin without it looking too matte. And then the matte option that I have here is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Matte Bronzer, I think is what it's called. I have the shade Fair. I just posted a full review on this, although technically when you're seeing this, it might have been a few weeks ago. So there is a full review already if you want to hear my thoughts more in depth and see it compared to other bronzers. But I really like this one because it is so light. It's the perfect shade for me. It's very natural on me. And because I go in with a ton of other glowy products on my cheeks, I don't mind using a matte bronzer. So I think I'm going to use the Charlotte Tilbury one today. And the brush that I'm using is the Anissa Beauty Multi-Powder Brush. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick up a bit of product. I don't have to be super careful with this, which is really nice. And I'm going to start off by just blending it into my cheekbone. And then I'll flip it around and kind of buff it out. You can see it just adds a super natural bronze to my skin. And then I just pick up a little bit more and kind of do that around the edges of my forehead, just because I have a 5 head. So I live for a good forehead bronze. For blush today, I figured I would show you one of my current favorite blush formulas, and this is the Kosas Color and Light Creme blushes. I have 2 different shades I can show you. So this first one is called 8th Muse. If you go on their website and you get a little bit confused because they have 8th Muse and then they have 8th Muse High Intensity, and they have that for every single shade. The high intensity ones are just basically the same exact color or the same exact tone, but a lot more pigmented. So here's 8th Muse. It has a really pretty soft pinky blush shade, and then it also has more of a pinky highlight. And then here is Velvet Melon, which has more of a peachy blush shade and then a highlight as well that is a really pretty highlight. It's kind of just like one of those highlights that's clear and it just looks like a little bit of a glow on the skin. So that one's really pretty as well, but I think I want to use the pink today. So what I like to do is to put my finger in and kind of warm it up, and you can see there's definitely a lot of pigment going on there. So I'll just tap it on in the general area that I like, and then just blend it out with my fingers. I don't have a favorite brush for cream blushes, so if you have any recommendations, definitely let me know. Maybe I already have it in my collection, but I always just end up using my fingers for cream blush, or sometimes I'll use a sponge. So for highlighter today, I was debating on whether to go in with a powder highlight or a cream highlight, because there are so many beautiful cream highlights, and it's definitely a way to get more of a glowy, flawless base when you have dry skin. But instead, I thought I would show you a product I'm loving recently. I've talked about this, I think 2 times already on my channel now, but I thought it'd be good to do another demo just to show you with another product how the Danessa Myricks Dew Balm works. So if you're not familiar already, This is basically just a clear balmy product, and what I love to use this for is to put it over powder products and kind of transform them into creams. So if you do have a lot of powder products and you're looking to get more of a cream finish, I really recommend this as a topper. So first I'm going to go in with one of my favorite highlighters. This is the Lethal Cosmetics Wavelength Highlighter, and the shade is Ionic. It is a very soft, neutral shade with the teeniest little tint of pink to it. I'm just picking that up with the BK Beauty 108. And I'm going to top it on tops of my cheekbones, which already by itself, this highlight is beautiful. You can use it with different brushes to get it to be more intense or more soft, but I just absolutely love the look that it gives. Can't forget the nose. All right, now I'm dipping into the Dew Bomb, just picking up a little bit of product, and I'm just going to tap that over the highlight. And it gives it such a natural glow to the skin. Then also, this is completely extra, but the Tatcha Luminous Dewy Skin Mist is one of the best setting sprays for a really glowy skin. Right now, it's not necessarily needed because I feel like my skin looks really good. I could use any setting spray, but if you do go in with products and you're like, ooh, that's a little bit too matte, my skin looks a little dry, I need it to be revived, this does a magical job. And I hate even saying that because it's so expensive. It's ridiculous. It makes me like disgusted at how expensive it is, but I just haven't found anything that's even close to how this looks on the skin and how it kind of revives the skin if you're looking a little dry. So I really love it, and I'm just going to use it as a finishing step. Okay, so this is the full face finished look, and I, like I said a million times already, absolutely love how my skin looks with this combination of products. So I really hope the video was helpful, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!